I do have to do a disclosure, and the disclosure is all the stories are intimate to the person and not to be discussed or taped to re-traumatize anyone. The purpose of this show is to provide formerly incarcerated, and you are currently incarcerated, and justice involve women and men to talk about their stories with criminal justice systems, medical issues, foster homes, child protection services, doula services, Minnesota Prison Doula Project, ReEntry Matters, Family Matters, mental health services, and much more. So today, everybody, live with me on the phone is Antionette Johnson. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I just wanted to say that because if you see an empty chair here, Antionette, I got your picture up so they can see who you are, but you are not present with us. So can you please tell us who you are?
I am Antionette Johnson, and I am currently incarcerated in Shakopee Prison in Minnesota. And I think that might be about it, about who I am.
Okay. Do you have a family?
Yes, I do. I have 2 girls and 2 boys. So I have 4 kids.
And how old are they?
I have a 13-year-old. I have a 3-year-old. I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old.
All right. Antionette, thank you so much for using your time, your paid for time, to call me today. I really appreciate that. The way that we're going to do our live is that because Antionette is on 15-minute increments of calls, she'll have to hang up and call back. So we'll be able to talk to her a few times so we can get her story. But I want to ask you this. What do you do when you keep trying but you feel like you're failing?
I think I just pray. And I keep my eyes on the things that I can't see. So I just let my faith lead me.
Yes.
So.
Awesome. That is the best thing to do, is to rely on God, right?
Yes.
What do you want?
That's how that gets me through.
Right. What do you want out of life?
I kind of want, I would say just freedom. Just to be free, like in my mind and my body and my spirit. Just to walk and to know that I'm walking free.
Yes.
And it doesn't just have to be, outside of prison or anything like that. It's just free within myself. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with being incarcerated. They want to be free so bad, but when they get out there, they're still locked up. So when I get out of here, I want to start here first. So I want to be free here.
Yes.
And then when I get out, it'll come easier. Because the world outside of here is a lot worse than it is in here.
It is. It's so much chaos and turmoil, and life is going when you're outside. But when you're inside, it's at a standstill.
Yep.
What is your definition of happy?
I would say probably just the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faithful, and meekness.
Hey, you said it.
That's it. That's what happy is.
Yes, it is. You said it. You put it all in one little recipe. I love that.
Yep.
What's your gift to the world?
I would say, I think I would say just like an ear, just someone to listen, someone to give advice, to someone to let somebody know it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what situation you're in. It doesn't matter where you are. You're going to be okay.
Right. Awesome.
So I think what my gift is.
What do you do to best advocate for yourself?
I write a lot. I communicate with other people. I ask a lot of questions. I do research. I read. I pray.
Mm-hmm.
I ask God what to do first and kind of let him just lead me.
Right. And how about, what are your meditation practices?
I would say just being quiet and writing in my diary every night and reading my Bible.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So that's like my most peaceful time.
Yeah.
Is when I write my diary.
Yeah, get it all out, right? Put it on
Yep.
paper, because once it's on paper,
Yep.
it's out. You've released
Yep.
it.
Yes.
So tell me and the world how you and I met.
Oh my goodness. Shoot. Y'all sure y'all ready for this? Because I thought I was wild, but Lord, y'all don't know Stacey. That's North Side. Oh my goodness. So we met through just mutual friends. My best friend, her sister was friends with Sierra, and I mean, from there, she was like a sister. She was always there when I needed her. She always just came around. She was a phone call away, and from there, it's still been the same. She was my doula.
Mm-hmm.
She prayed me through when I almost died. Ooh, y'all almost died in the hospital. Y'all wouldn't even know it. I think I scared her more than I scared myself. But we made it through.
We did.
And it was some long hours, y'all.
Yeah, we
some
did.
Some long hours.
I was pregnant at the same time.
Oh, Lord, at the same time. And I'm all half dead over here, and you pregnant. Jesus. Woo.
Hopping up like Wonder Woman.
Right. Always.
So, how do people receive your story when you talk about your history with the criminal system? And I'm talking about, I want to hear about how other inmates and like the staff, your family, and your friends.
Okay, so the other inmates, they it varies, because it's so hard to tell when people are genuine, period, in any prison or any jail or anywhere that you're incarcerated in. So they'll say one thing to you, and then it'll be something else to other people. But when you have when you just have a spirit of discernment, when someone is serious and when they're not, and when to say what and when just not to say anything.
Right.
So a lot of people are they're really shocked. They're heartbroken. They don't understand. A lot of the times they cry. A lot of times, they say, I'm going to pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the staff here, they tell me all the time, like, it's going to be okay. You keep fighting because you're going to get out of here. Don't let anything stop you. You use everything that you have within you, and you keep fighting.
Right.
My family and friends are devastated because I've never been in trouble in my life. I've never had a criminal history. I never had anything. So people are devastated, and right now it's the hardest because they don't know how to help me. They don't know what to do because nobody's ever been in this type of situation.
Right.
So what do you really do? And the only thing you can do is just pray.
Right. Which is the best thing to do, is keep praying.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know sometimes we want to go to God and say, God, I pray, and then we think just because we pray one prayer, then we change it up and we switch it up. It's the same prayer. So, once we leave it in his hands, we know that it's in his hands. Now, if you need prayer and guidance on other things, like, oh, well, God, you know what? Matter of fact, I prayed for a new house, but I'm going to need you to get me that new house without no problems from moving from my old house. Those type of things
Right.
you can come back to God and pray for. But don't just be saying, God, I need a new house. And then next day, God, I need a new house. He already heard you. He don't need to
Yep.
hear it in several different
Again.
ways. He heard you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so prayer is definitely the go-to first thing, Almighty. So I'm gonna check for time purposes because I want to make sure that we got a couple minutes to finish this. We'll start this question. So tell me about your story with the criminal justice system and what you want others to know.
Let's see, where do I start? You can't, you were brought up and raised to, trust the system and trust the people that work for the system. But, as you can see, just all over the news and just everywhere, not just here in Minnesota, but it's falling apart. Like, how do you trust somebody who's been caught lying, or how do you trust somebody who's been, wanting pornographic pictures of, the people that get out of prison, like these probation officers and, officers and just everything. Like, it seems like the whole system is unjust and they're on a rampage. So where do you even start? I mean, and with the, the public defenders, a lot of them are best friends with the prosecutors. And in my situation, in my case, that's what it was. So, one of my lawyers were best friends with one of the prosecutors that was on my case. And so, you don't really get the help that you need because they don't want to step on each other's toes and they got to work with each other, or, they really don't care at the end of the day.
So can you tell us what is your case and what happened? What are you being accused of, and why are you incarcerated?
Okay, so I was sentenced to a first-degree premeditated murder, and I was sentenced and charged with this because I didn't have any information other than the information that I could give the prosecutors on my case. And they know that I didn't commit the murder, but they think that I'm hiding something for one of my co-defendants. And I have two other co-defendants. And they didn't have any physical evidence on me. They only had circumstantial. But my circumstantial evidence became physical evidence when one of my co-defendants turned state on myself and her boyfriend. And so, I guess that was possible since me and my co-defendant were in the car together. She could blame her involvement on me and take a deal, and I'm sitting here now trying to figure out what to do next to get out.
So you are being accused of premeditation of a murder. And they're saying what...
You have 1
What role did
minute remaining.
What role are they saying that you played in the murder?
That's a good question. They're saying that I had planned a murder because of my co-defendant. She said that it was planned, which there's no evidence to state that it was planned, but she said that she had to do this and she had to say what they wanted her to say, or she wasn't going to get a deal.
So when you call back, I want you to tell us what, if you can, in your words, happened to the other party who is no longer here.
I will do that.
All right.
And I will call back.
All right. We'll hear from you shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for using GTL.
I thank you guys for staying tuned in with me. It is such a hard topic to discuss, as you heard, Antionette is a really near and dear friend to me, and I talk to her on a regular basis. I send her messages over JPay. I can't go visit her because the fact that I work for the Minnesota Prison Doula Project, and the requirement of the state of Minnesota is you cannot be on inmates visiting list and volunteer at a state prison facility. So right now, I've chosen not to work there at Shakopee. So, but I've chosen to continue my friendship because that's much more important than anything.
Prepaid debit call from
Antionette.
an inmate at the Minnesota Department of Corrections, Shakopee Correctional Facility. To accept this call, press 0. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
All right. So, can you tell us what happened? What are you know, in the situation, what was the accusation and what really happened?
Okay, so I got a text message asking if I can give my two co-defendants a ride, and I told them, what time, and I asked them where, and where were they, and at the time I couldn't do it, so I told them that they would have to wait. So I told them to meet me at the hospital, but instead they wanted to meet, they asked me to meet them downtown St. Paul. At some bar/restaurant. I didn't know how to get there, so they gave me the address. I GPSed it. After that, we had stopped at a couple stores for groceries to barbecue for a birthday party of one of the relatives. And I had my baby with me, but I had dropped him off before I had picked them up. And after that, I was looking to get him something to eat because I had left his milk and food at my best friend's house, and she lived way out the way, so I wasn't going all the way back. And I had stopped at the White Castles, but their line was too long, and I knew I had to get back to my baby because it was already been like maybe an hour that I had been gone, 45 minutes, and so I was going to go across the street to the Dairy Queen, but when I got over there, that line was also long, so I had went into a parking lot, which was connected to a Dairy Queen, and then by like a nail shop and all of that other stuff. And he had asked me if I could take him to a store over there, and I told him that I couldn't. So one of my other co-defendants, she had made a phone call to an auto store out in Sunray shopping area to put a part on hold for their car. So he had asked me to drop him off to check on his vehicle. Dropped him off. Didn't think anything of it. I was trying to find my way back to the expressway, and I had got a call from him, but I had missed his call the first time. And my co-defendant told me that my phone was ringing, and so I picked it up. He asked me where I was. I told him that I was trying to find my way back to the expressway, and he directed me how to get to him, and I had picked him up. Went to the relative's house, barbecued, didn't think anything of it. Nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I want to say maybe 11 days later, I am getting ready to pick up my son's father, and I'm at a gas station, and some police just roll up on me undercovers and tell me to get out my car, just all types of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, am I being arrested? They told me no, I'm not at all. They had just had some people that wanted to talk to me. So I go into the station, I talk to them, I ask them for a lawyer multiple times. They never give me one. And next thing you know, I'm booked. 2 days later, I was charged with second-degree murder. And then a few months after that, I was indicted. And I was charged with first-degree premeditated murder. And one of my co-defendants kept telling these people, oh, her gun was used, because I had a concealed carry license. And in closing argument at my jury trial, that's when the jury members found out that my gun wasn't used.
Your gun wasn't used?
Was not used at all.
Correct. Okay. So your gun wasn't used.
Never.
So they're saying that you played what part in it? That you planned the murder?
They were saying, yep, that I planned it, and because I was the driver. But it was never told to me anything that was going on. The only communication that went on was between my co-defendant and her boyfriend at the time, which was text messages involving the victim, his car, and what he was doing. That was never communicated to me, never in my phone, and I didn't know anything of it until I got the paperwork.
So you didn't
know?
Both
of them changed. Yep, they both changed their phone numbers, and they got new phone numbers. My phone number remained the same. Everything I did remained the same. The only thing was different was everything that they did.
So you did not. You dropped him off. You said, right?
Yes.
And then you left, and then he called you back to come get him?
Yes. And he had told me that his car still wasn't running and he needed to get the part that he needed. And I told him, well, I can't take you to go get the part, but I can pick you up.
And then
he just said, okay.
Then he
directed me.
Directed you to the highway.
He directed me to him and then to the highway.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't in the same spot?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. So you picked
Not at all.
up. You picked him up at a totally different location, not where
completely different location.
Not where you dropped him off. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right.
And for a murder to be planned,
you should know all of that.
Planned to me.
Yeah, you should know all of that. Someone shouldn't have to call you to direct you to where they are or any of that.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Absolutely.
So, in the news, I remember reading the article. I remember finding out about this on Facebook, and I was in such shock because I'm like, absolutely not. This is not my friend. She would never do that. She has kids. She has a conscience. She loves God. Absolutely not. But in the paper, it mentioned something to the effects of you calling someone and saying something. I can't remember exactly because I don't want to misquote. But did you ever call anybody and tell them that anything had been done to somebody?
No. So I got a phone call, and they were asking, the first phone call was like, where's my son's father? And they're like, I heard that he was shot and killed. And I said, are you sure? They said, yeah, it's this light-skinned guy with long hair. And his hair is in braids. I said, well, it's not him because he's in the workhouse. So I know that it's not him. He doesn't get out until the day after. So they said, all right, well, let me get my information right, and then I'll call back. I said, okay. Maybe 20, 30 minutes after, I get a phone call back. And they're like, it wasn't him. The guy's dark-skinned, skinny with braids. And, let your son's dad know that, the dude, he's out of here, he's gone. And I'm like, who is this guy? What's his name? And he's like, don't worry about that. Just let him know what I said, and you know what I'm talking about. Just let him know he's gone forever. I'm like, okay. Not thinking anything of it. I get a phone call from him maybe I don't know how long later. And I'm telling him about it, telling him what I did. And he's just like, I say, some guy, one of your friends called and asked me, do you know about some dude? And some dark-skinned dude, he was like, no, who is it? Now, his first thought was his cousin, whose barbecue that we were having, she has a godson. And so he thought I was talking about him. And he stated this in the conversation. And I said, no, it's not him, because he's basically here with us. And I'm just like, never mind. I don't know. So when you get out, you basically figure out. But, they're just like, he's gone forever, whatever. And so that whole conversation, they actually took the end of my conversation and the beginning of my conversation and put them together. And so they left out a lot of basically details that we were talking about. And a lot of this stuff, the first part of the conversation was just he was gone, and that was it. And he's like, I don't know who you're talking about or what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, forget it. And so it was another situation that had happened between me and him. And so he thought that, he would be going to jail and not getting out. And I told him, I said, no, you'll be fine. You can go to sleep tonight. Everything is okay. Because I didn't report it. I didn't say anything about it. So, and if I did, he wouldn't be getting out of the workhouse and coming home. He would be getting out and going to jail and being charged with an assault.
So he was thinking it was something that he did?
Yes.
Okay.
So he was thinking that, since that he would be going to jail. And so I let him know, like, no, everything's fine, but I didn't say it over the phone because, you just never know.
Right.
And so I was more so protecting him from what he did to me.
Right.
In this conversation that we had, it lasted 2 minutes, and that was it. But they took that part and then me saying what I said in the ending of our conversation and put it together.
This is you and your son's father.
Yes.
Okay, so they have a recording of your conversation with him, and what you're saying are cut out some pieces, so you guys didn't hear the entire conversation?
No, they just took out certain pieces and put it in the newspaper.
Okay.
And in the article.
Right, okay. So in the article, they just put bits and pieces of what was said. But in court, were you able to have them pull the conversation?
Yes, I was. And the conversation went exactly how I said it.
Okay.
And so, it was an option. If they wanted to use it, they could. We weren't saying not to, because I never had anything to hide.
Right.
So everything was put out there, and that was that. So it was just basically up to the jury. And, I can honestly say if I was a jury member, I would have found me guilty too, because I didn't have a defense. My lawyer,
you had nothing to hold you accountable because you just weren't present. You had nothing to do with it. So how can you defend yourself by something that you have nothing to defend with?
Nothing to do with. Yep. So my lawyer didn't even have an avenue. He didn't really have anything. Because
right.
How do you do anything?
Especially if you don't have a criminal background. It's like pulling something out midair. Well, if this person hasn't been like this all of their life, why how old are you?
33.
And how old were you when this happened?
30.
Out of 30 years, all of a sudden, you're going to start creating these new transformed lifestyles
and murders.
Yeah, you're going to start creating lifestyles. You're going to mastermind a murder in such a way that is you're just spot clean of everything else. Like there's,
Yep. They wanted to just paint this picture of me, which was so hard for them to do, and it's still hard for them to do because
you have 1 minute remaining.
Go ahead.
So my actions still, till this day, still show that's not who I am.
Right. And that's not who you'll ever be.
Nope.
Well, are you able to call back one more time?
Yes.
All right. Well, one more time it is, and then we will get into another question. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was like being very vulnerable and very open, and I appreciate that so much of you.
Okay, I will call back.
All right.
Thank you for you.
Wow, this is so amazing to hear her story. That was my first time hearing exactly the events. And though she is my friend, I don't feel the necessity to discuss with her over the phone or even in person about her criminal history, because that's my friend and I'm there to support her through the good and through the bad, no matter what the situation is. And I'm just so blessed to be able to be a support for her on the outs and to be able to pour into her while she's in, because in those situations they really need somebody. They need their kids, they need their spouses, they need their loved ones to pour into them, because they're already subject to the outside world's
This is a prepaid debit call from
Antionette.
an inmate at the Minnesota Department of Corrections, Shakopee Correctional Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
So where are you right now with life as a general, and not because of your situation, but where are you at?
I'm actually in a really good place in life. Like, I'm starting to find out like my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing, and like, how can I help somebody? Like, this just didn't happen to me. It happened to a lot of other people too. So what can I do from in here to help someone else? And so I think I'm on a good path, actually.
Yes, you are. You are on a very good path. Do you feel you have the support you need from the community, your family, and your friends?
I would say, yeah, from my family and friends, and I think so from the community, but it's just kind of hard because I'm in a situation where what do you do now? I have until June to have paperwork in for a post-conviction, but my post-conviction, it's so hard because with a post-conviction, you can't enter in new evidence. So from my appeal that I put in and that I had lost, I have to go off of that. So where do I go now? Like, what do I do now?
Right.
How can I get the help that I need now? And if there's no paperwork filed or there's nothing done by June, then this is where I'll spend the rest of my life. So what do I do now? Where do I go from here?
Right.
And so instead of looking at it the negative, what do? I start to network. I start to ask questions. I start to ask for help. I start to just try to figure out like what to do next. And right now, another girl that's in here with me, her parents are involved in trying to get the felony murder law changed.
Yeah.
Up here. So they're working with a lady from California who got it done down there, and a few other people. And so right now they have a lot of the House that is ready for it, but they have to get the Senate to want to be okay with it as well. So a lot of Democrats are for it. A lot of Republicans, they're 50-50, don't really know, or it's a lot of other stuff going on. And, so how do we push this? Like, what can I do to help push this? Because it's big.
Yes.
And, for people who actually did not commit the murder, they should have never been charged with murder.
Right.
And especially first-degree murder.
Right.
So what can the community do now to help? What can I do now, not just to help me, but to help somebody else?
Right. Well, one of the biggest things I think, Antionette, that you have taught me is to be careful about who you do let in your circle, right? In your space, because you never know, what they may have, prepared for themselves and that you are unknown to. And not to live in fear, like, no, you can't give nobody a ride, but just being notified, like, where you're going, what you're doing. Hey, I want to know, and that's one of the things, like, I'm not a snitch in any way, shape, form, or fashion, would never be. But if you get in my car and you get in my vehicle and you got some stuff, or you go do some stuff, you better take whole accountable action for everything, because baby, I'm not going down for nobody. You feel me?
Absolutely. Yep. And that was one of the biggest things. Me not knowing law or anything about it, I didn't know that, I can say, oh, well, yeah, I think he did it. But, that doesn't really work.
Right.
Because I can't say for sure that he did, because I didn't see it.
Right.
So if I seen it, that's completely different.
Right.
It'd be absolutely, yeah, he did it.
Right.
But for me, and I didn't have information. So information that my co-defendant had, she could use that. So, but what I think is messed up was, you didn't pull me in on your deal. And you got in my car. You needed my help. You asked me to pick you up. So for you to do something, why wouldn't you? What were you so angry for? That you wouldn't help me, and you know that I didn't know, just as well as you didn't know this man was going to go and kill somebody.
Right. And maybe it's just the fear of just because, or the fear of what we don't know happened behind the facility doors when she was pulled in there to be questioned. We don't know. We're not the ones to say what her story is. However, we know what you did and what you didn't have anything to do with. And we know that you're a mother that has 4 beautiful children that are waiting for you to be out and present with them. You weren't no mom that didn't take care of your kids. You took care of your kids. No matter what the situation or circumstance was, you were present in their lives. You were there. And so this is affecting, my heart goes out to the victim's family. In no way, shape, or form or fashion do we take that in vain at all, because a life lost is a life lost, and that affects everyone, from the parents to the children to the children's parents, on and on for eons. So we know and the effects of that, but we also know the effects of your children, and the fact that you're a mother behind walls that can't get to them, that can't aid to them, that can't pour into them, and long-term effects are going to be affected on your children because of that. No matter who has them right now, we know that statistics say that the mother missing out of a child's life is a lifetime of picking back up. And to not be able to be present for those moments, those milestones, those birthday parties, those first losing teeth. Your son was how old? The baby was 1?
He was 8 months.
8, not even 1.
You
were still breastfeeding. Like, how can we change these laws or change the way that we look at things? No matter if you are a person who's sitting behind as a peer to give a trial sentencing, you know, we have to look at things with a thinner lens and say, wow, amazing. Like, I could have been that person. I could have been the one to go drop somebody off somewhere and not knowing what they were going to do, and then I got to be held accountable for somebody else's actions.
Yep.
Now,
that's absolutely correct.
It doesn't make sense to me, and maybe it makes sense to others, and others may say, you know, you gotta watch the company you keep, and that's true, we all do, but that has nothing to do with who I am. I'm not responsible for someone else's actions, and if you can't prove that I was present and I had anything to do with it, you have no right to have me behind these doors.
Absolutely. And it was, it's kind of funny because when I was going through my appeal process, the state said that the only thing I would have never been charged if I would have said, oh, he did it, or, oh, he put a gun to my head, or, oh, I was scared. I couldn't say I was scared because I didn't know what was going on to say I was scared.
Right.
So to say something like that, and then you absolutely knowing that I didn't know and I didn't have anything to do with it, and you still proceed to charge me and sentence me like this. You still proceed to go through with the process. That in itself is wrong, and that's in the archive, in the Supreme Court archive. Like my case, you can look it up. It's there. You can watch the whole thing. That's exactly what he said, and it's wrong. But when is somebody going to stand up and hold the justice system accountable for wrongdoing? When is the justice system actually going to be just for people who have been wrongly accused and sentenced?
Right.
So when are people going to stand up?
Well, we know we standing, and I'm always standing. I'm always be there, and this is the way I can. This is the only way I could think. Let me get my baby's story out here, because you know what?
Yep.
I can't change the laws.
And all it takes is one person to hear it.
Yeah, I can't change the laws. I'm not able to do that unless I get 20,000 million trillion people behind me to come with me. And I have no problem standing up and saying this ain't right. As we can see, I have no problem when there's injustice standing up and saying, no, somebody needs to take a deeper look at this. No problem whatsoever, especially when it comes to my loved ones. And honestly, I have love for everybody, you know, but deeper connections with those who I've been involved with for many, many, many years.
Man.
So
I'll talk about when I was a teenager.
For real. Just the one, 2 kids maybe.
Yeah, just one. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yep, just one.
What is your motivation and intentions for this project of Everybody Has a Story?
Just to get the word out, just awareness, just to really get people to start looking at what is going on in the prison system. Like our commissioner we have right now, awesome. He came in and said he was going to do something, and he's doing a great work.
Yes.
The commissioner right now, I'm talking about, he's working. He is moving.
He just started when, Monday?
The new commissioner?
Yeah.
He started, I think, earlier this year.
Okay. No, I'm talking about the warden. You guys have a warden that's changing.
Not yet. I think she's coming, or the new warden is coming in maybe a couple weeks or so.
Okay. But the commissioner, yes, you are right. Yes, you are right.
He changed the laws. I mean, he's changed the stuff within the prison system so people can go back to CIP. He's changed it to where people now are getting paroled after 20 years. He's just doing an awesome job. Like, he's coming in here and he's sitting down and he's talking to us. He's hearing what we have to say.
Right.
And so I think that's awesome. Like, he's listening.
Yes.
And he's ready to work. And he's doing everything that he said he would do, and he's still working.
Yes, and it's going to be continuous work.
Continuous.
So what does acceptance and equality mean to you?
Let's see. I would say, I guess everyone just having the right to say how they feel, to say what is right in their own circumstance, and to just be treated as not what society has made.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Or the system has made them, but for people just to look at people as who they are.
Yes. Well, that's your 1 minute, and I'm not going to ask for you to call again because I know that it costs to make these calls. So we want to thank you so much. I'm going to talk to on live a little bit more after you enter, but I love you, and you call me anytime.
I love you too. You know I will.
And
thank you everyone for listening.
Yes. Thank you everybody for listening to Antionette. Again, she's at Shakopee Women's Correctional Facility, which is located in Scott County in Shakopee, Minnesota. So if you want to connect with her, send her a kite, write her a letter, give her some encouragement, tell her that she's going to make it through, because she is going to make it through, right? Amen. I love you.
I love you too, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you for using GTL.
So that is the story of, again, Antionette Johnson, who, again, is charged with first-degree premeditated murder and is serving life without parole in Shakopee Women's Correctional Facility. And I am your host, Sierra Williams, which, again, I work for the Minnesota Prison Doula Project as a doula. Aside from that, I also have my own group that is sponsored by our OSTARA initiatives, Minnesota Prison Doula Project, which is ReEntry Matters. And what ReEntry Matters does is we hold a monthly group for women to come once a month, and we do fun, exciting activities that work on building the woman up on the outside, because as we all know, if you are not feeling good on the outer layer, how are you going to feel on the inner layer? So once a month I host those. Last month we did a business affair where I invited people to come and talk about their businesses that would be available to formerly incarcerated or justice-involved women. This month we are going to do a paint and praise, where we will have canvases available to the women to come and paint and just listen to some praise music, whatever that is, how we praise together. And then you can also be matched with a mentor. So I have community members who come and volunteer their time to be a blessing to the formerly incarcerated women, so that they have someone positive like myself to be involved with. And the mentorship is important, I say, because it gives them another outlet to someone who is positive and who may have some resources that they can tap into to help this formerly incarcerated women. I came up with the idea simply because at one point in time in my life, I did these groups for me and my friends, and they were fun, and I moved out of the state for a little while. And when I came back, everybody kept saying, when are you going to have these groups again? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll get to it. And then because I teach inside of women's correctional facilities on Fridays, a parenting class, I kept hearing from the women, so can I meet with you on the outside? And these weren't the women that I provide the doula services to. These were women that just attend parenting classes. And then so in that conversation with them, they were just saying, I really need to stay connected with you. And I met you in here, but I still need to work with you out of there. And initially it was, no, I couldn't have relationships with women on the outside. But then that changed because ReEntry Matters was evolved. And so also when I was a little girl, I used to have a big sister from the Big Brother, Big Sister program. Shout out Sue, my big sister. She's still my big sister. And so I put the groups that I used to have with my friends one-on-one involved with a mentorship and combined them together, because I feel like I can't be reactive in situations. I need to be proactive. And my sisters are calling for me. They're calling for my help. They're calling for my expertise. And I want to be able to do that for them in such a way that is impactful, such a way that is empowering, such a way that is true and genuine. And so this was the way to help with that. So if you are interested in being on the show of Everybody Has a Story, or else you're interested in getting more information about who I am or who Antionette is or who any of the previous guests are on the show, you can feel free to reach out to me at Sierra Sparkle Shop at gmail.com. That's SIERRASSPARKLESHOP at gmail.com. And also starting today on channel 20 CCX cable network will be showing at 7 p.m. Everybody Has a Story. It'll start running on our cable network television. So tune in for that as well. And we will see you again next time. Thank you for sitting in, listening in. And just remember that when you come across someone, everybody has a story. Just listen.